Hi everyone, it's Sarah, and it's Spirit Saturdays, and I'm super excited to be here. If I don't look super excited, it's because I'm a wee bit tired. I just finished exams, so yeah. Anyway, this week the collaboration has decided to sort of focus on emotions, and emotions that can be really difficult for people. And not just eating disorder people, like for the general population. But they pose kind of an extra obstacle for us. And the emotion that Elena and I are going to talk about is confusion. Confusion sucks. I find it one of the most deep, one of the emotions that most deeply upsets me. It's one of the emotions that most deeply sort of kind of just throws me off. And I'm not a fan of it. And I think personally it's been one of the last emotions that I'm learning to deal with. I can do anger, I can do guilt. I still have a lot of trouble with shame and with confusion. I'm like a sponge for useless information, so I can tell you that if you're going to develop an eating disorder or a relapse into an eating disorder, chances are it's going to be in adolescence, which is a very confusing time. You're stuck and you're like, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? What role do my parents have in my life? What role do my peers have in my life? You're figuring out sexuality, you're figuring out just a lot of things, and it's very, very confusing. So you can lean on your eating disorder for that as a crutch, kind of. And then the second time that you're most likely to relapse into your eating disorder is towards the end of middle age. So, after your kids have gone off to college, when you're beginning to retire, and you start to see your roles drastically change. And I personally, when I tell people that my eating disorder is a method of control, they look at me like I've lost it. And they look at me and they're like, no, you have no control when you have your eating disorder. Yes, I do. I have control, but I have it in a context where it's out of control, definitely. But I control what goes into my body, I control what comes out of my body, and I control, I can control people if I want to be manipulative, which I have done in the past. I control my weight, I control my shape. That's a lot of control for someone who is used to having none. And some of us are more prone than others to falling into that trap because we just really can't sit with the confusion. The role of confusion in recovery. Like I said, for me, it's been one of the hardest emotions to deal with. Because you give up your eating disorder. And a lot of people end up identifying with their eating disorder. If you've had your eating disorder for years and years and years, you'll be like, who are you? Well, I'm an anorexic. Or I'm a bulimic. Well, that's not you. That's your eating disorder, but that's not you. And you end up sort of identifying with your eating disorder and really taking, it begins to take an identity all of its own, but unfortunately it's your identity. And your identity doesn't get to present any other way. So giving up that eating disorder, which is such a huge part of who you are, can be really, really difficult. And once it's gone, there's this sort of sensation of, oh God, what do I put in its place? And that's where a lot of the confusion sets in. And you have to sort of reevaluate, what do I believe in? Do I really believe that skinny is the only way to live? Do I really believe that the only beautiful people are the people who fit into that stereotype? Do I really believe that I have control over what I need to when I have an eating disorder. So you have to change your beliefs. A lot of times you'll end up changing who you are. You'll begin to assert boundaries and that kind of thing. And it's a time of change, and any sort of time of change leads to a lot of confusion. And we look at that negatively because a lot of us really, really crave predictability and stability. So confusion is very unpleasant for us. However, confusion, like all of our emotions, serves a purpose. And I like to just look at it as sort of a red flag. And like, okay, I have to think about this a little bit more before I move on. So yeah, I guess that's like, when you don't have what you need to know what's going on in the world and to know your place in the world and to know that you'll be okay in the world, confusion can be paralyzing. So if you feel that way, know that you're not alone. Start, a lot of times I find that I start to look at other people and adopt what I like about them. You get to basically create your own person again. And, as daunting as that process might be, it's kind of a really neat creative process too. So yeah, that's confusion. If you can stick it out, make sure that your eating disorder doesn't become your identity again, you're going to make it. And I have no doubt in my mind that everybody who wants to will make it. See you next week.